Okay. Um, I don't know how to do this one. Um, so this is supposed to be Nancy Drew Shadow at the Water's Edge. Um, this was I'm trying to put this into good words. The environment was good. The puzzles, really liked them. There were a few ones that were like a little meh at the very end, but like the biggest issue I had with just like the conversations was just like this is an anti Nancy Drew situation. Most of the characters are all closed off, which there are reasons behind it, and you can't fault them for it. But and this is technically a good story to put Nancy in a situation where she can't snoop as easy. But the issue is when you're playing that story, it feels like it's a dead end because you can't dig for answers. And straight up, this was just the game of gaslight. That's what we'll have to call this, the game of gaslight. Um, so after a string of mysteries, Nancy wants to take a break. Thanks to the Last Mysteries PG, the Meister, she'll be going to Kyoto, Japan. At a traditional inn, she'll be teaching English by day and exploring the sites with Bess and George at night. However, as per usual, this inn Nancy is staying at is one of the scariest places in town. Apparently, um, Ryoki, what? Ryokian? I think. Um, oh, it's the name of the place. The Ryoki in here. Okay, I don't know what I did with that spelling. Is dealing with paranormal activity caused by a unrestful mother. Um, so in the end, you have Miwako and her family that they've owned this inn for generations. You meet her grandmother, who's she kind of she's doing what Nancy does, but on the Japanese side, not to mention teaching traditional arts. Um, and she's the current owner. Um, Miwako is kind of like your acting manager. Um, and she has very quickly you can catch on that her mother has passed away, and she was supposed to be the owner, um, but it reverted back to the last generation. She does have an older sister who's meant to become the next owner of the inn, Yumi. Um, but Yumi, she's like as soon as she had the the time and the age and the money to do so, she moved out, got an apartment, and got I forgot what bento. She works at a bento place. Um, that way she's like away from the end. Just because it's like crushing like your expectations to be this next owner of the family business is crushing. It's defeating, and you just want to get away from it. And then the fun part is that there's a robot cat, Suki. Throughout, it's like you can teach him tricks. You can, um, it helps you with some puzzles, but also, Rentaro. He's the end's handyman, and also he's been childhood friends with the sisters since they were kids, and she is Miwako's boyfriend. Um, he's a little bit. of a weirdo, but he's very smart, and he kind of gives us a lot of the fun puzzles. Like, I'm a big fan of Sudoku, or whatever how you pronounce it. Um, and then the ends employees are like off the bat answering questions in the most simplest summarizations, but not really answering a lot of questions. Um, and they're very quick, and they're a lot quicker to shut down things that have to do with any of the mystery. Like, of course, anything to do with the death of the mother, they like give you a line or two and then they stop, um, which is understandable. You don't talk about a death in the family so openly. Also, you're a visitor. Why are you getting into our business about something that it's an open wound? Um, Even if it's been years, it's still an open wound. Um, Gran, let's see here. Okay, not much with that. I already talked about that. We contact a like paranormal chaser who made a book, Savannah Woodham. Um, she, based on the calls and stuff, so she has a assistant who also helps kind of do some stuff. Logan, his entire role was like trying to shut down Nancy, but also kind of like help Nancy. But it's also by helping Nancy, he gets a chance at going on a date with Bess. That's kind of an awkward situation, but that happened. Um, but Savannah, it's kind of like it sounds like she was there at the end before, many years before, and she wrote parts of it in a second volume of her books, but that never released because it sounds like during one of her investigations, either she truly found something paranormal, which once you find the real thing, it it changes you. You do not want to go hunting for nothing because it's a different feeling versus just going and doing a haunted house or whatever. Seeing proper paranormal changes you. And the other thing is, like, she says when you like poke around, you eventually come across stuff that you're not meant to. So there's a high chance she may have saw some death or something that just like scarred her, and like she wants to talk about it so she can like sharing the pain makes it easier, but just whatever she's gonna say is going to scar the other person. So she's in kindness not telling anybody else about it. But she's also kind of like, hey, I saw this when I was there. I saw this. This was a secret. So she also helps in that term. I'm trying to think of the other things. So it's just like the entire thing is like you're hearing, like it's so fun to hear about what's happening with George and Bess. I think out of all the family, the only one I can really tolerate was Yuki, Yumi. Um, Because the other ones, it's just like the voice actors. I feel like kind of were off. Miwako, maybe, but especially the Gran. I know people need to take breaks to kind of pronounce things properly when it's their secondary language, but man, it's like I was speed running her talk. So trying to think of any other things. A lot of customization, a lot of hunting, a lot of puzzle things. Everything that has nothing to do with the mystery or like a side quest felt so much better than the actual main mystery. Like I said, it's an anti Nancy Drew mystery, um, an environment, and like the fact that it's just like so gaslighty and so like everyone's so stiff. It feels very sucky to do anything with the actual mystery. Um, I would say though is like this is a very good mystery. It jump scared me actually at the very end. Um, but I think this is like these last few have felt like a lower quality than what it felt like because I feel like the Mallory or Malloy and the what was the other one? It was the ransom of the seven ships. Those two made me think we were going to start a new standard. The Twisters and this one just, while they have their positives, it just feels like we fell back into the classics, which is cool and all, but like, hey, you're trying to like start and get better about things. It didn't feel like that. But I need to finish up here. I'm sorry. Um. Okay, so the two things are what happened with the mother, what happened, who is the ghost who's walking around. So what happened to the mother was, um, the mother was trying to meet up with a pen pal. The Grand didn't want her to go out to the city, so she acted sick, and because of that, she ended up doing a task that required some very precise movements to be safe. And the Grand wasn't worrying about the actual task; she was worrying about her daughter going out and about. But that ended up with her falling and drowning. Um, and then it's kind of like the stuff what's happening with like why is everyone the way they are. Um, Gran is just kind of like she wants people to stay. This is their home. Be, like she understands they don't like the idea of the inn. Like yes, she understands that the business is what's driving them away. But this is their home. They forget that it was supposed to be for them together. Um, and she's trying to like avoid that conversation because it might be the last thing before they completely separate. Um, Yumi, she's mostly just like I said, pressured by the business, doesn't want nothing to do with it. Um, Miwako, she basically is just like so pressured, so stressed. Um, she's trying to be the glue that keeps everything together, and that puts a lot of pressure on people. And you have her boyfriend. Oh, what's his name? Where is his? Um. Oh, Rentoro. Okay, he pushes a lot here. He is one of my favorite characters, but he pushes a lot for her to end up getting very aggressive. Um, and then with him, basically, he's the culprit. He's the one who made the whole thing with the ghost, and it's basically just like it sounds like he ended up staying there since he was a kid. He ended up like tinkering, and like eventually he would fall in love with Miwako, and they would go dating and all that. But like once the whole thing with the mother started happening, he started noticing that it put stress on everybody. You know, he cares about everybody in that building, and he thinks like the way he thinks, it's just he thinks the end is the biggest problem. Um, and with that, it's kind of just like I understand what he was trying to do, where it's just like scare everybody away. That way they are forced to shut it down. That way everybody can do their own thing, be happy. But it also is also self. What really motivated him was his selfishness. Jesus, man. Because he really wanted to move on to the next chapter with Miwako. He forced his way into a situation that ended up getting him dumped. Of course, at the end, he confesses to be honorable. They eventually have him help, like, modernize the inn a little bit, but he never will. Like, he's holding out hope that they get back together. Um, George, Bess, and Nancy go on the town. We finally get a little bit of Nancy. She gets her face gets covered up, but like you can see her neck in her shirt. Um, but in the end of this one, it's just like it's fun when it had nothing to do with the mystery. But anyways, I think that's it. I need to go take a shower, get to bed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.